Now, two hackers who go by the names Saber and Cyborg claim to have successfully breached the computer of a North Korean government hacker. The duo claimed that the North Korean hacker is part of a government espionage group that is known as Kimsuky, also called Apt 43.
He accused North Korea of using a cyber-espionage group to steal sensitive and classified data to advance Pyongyang's military and nuclear ambitions. Well, let's get...
Did you know that two hackers may have just pulled off one of the most dangerous cyber breaches in history? They didn't target a bank. They didn't go after a big tech company. They hacked a North Korean government hacker and uncovered a secret spy network that's been operating in the shadows for over a decade. This is the story of how the dark web exposed one of North Korea's most dangerous espionage groups and how the hunters became the hunted. The breach. It started quietly. Two independent hackers, who call themselves Saber and Cyborg, claimed they had broken into the computer of a North Korean government hacker. Their target, a man they simply called Kim, wasn't just any hacker. He was part of a notorious cyber-espionage group known as Kimsuky, also called a PT-43. For years, Kimsuky has been linked to cyber attacks against journalists, governments, and researchers, especially in South Korea. They've been accused of stealing classified information, manipulating news, narratives, and even laundering stolen cryptocurrency to help fund North Korea's nuclear weapons program. But this time, things flipped. Instead of Kimsuky infiltrating others, they were the ones compromised. Saber and Cyborg's breach revealed internal documents, emails, and digital blueprints, a mirror into the very heart of Pyongyang's cyber army, the leak that shook the dark web. Soon after, something extraordinary appeared on a dark web forum, an enormous archive, hundreds of gigabytes of data labeled as a Kimsuky operational dump. Inside were virtual machine images, phishing, kits, rootkits, stolen passwords, and even screenshots from Kim's own desktop. For the first time ever, the world could see how one of North Korea's state-sponsored hacking teams actually operated from the inside, not just code samples or malware fragments, but their entire daily workflow. It was like finding the spy agency's secret manual left open on the desk. Researchers say the dump contained over 20,000 browser history entries, stolen credentials, and full records of email exchanges tied to South Korean government officials and journalists. Among them, traces of access to the Defense Counterintelligence Command, the Supreme Prosecutor's Office, and even the Foreign Ministry inside Kim's machine. Investigators soon pieced together what Kim's digital life looked like. He used a Chinese-made system called Deep in Linux, common among North Korean hackers. Every morning he logged in at 9 a.m. Pyongyang time and logged out at 5 p.m, like an office worker on a strict schedule. His computer was filled with hacking tools, phishing kits, and a strange file named ko2, wembianyi.doc, which translates to Operation Manual. It was a guide for a secret backdoor program, and inside it carried a warning written in Chinese. Do not use this tool for any other purpose. They also found long lists of stolen passwords, some embarrassingly simple, like one QAZ2WSX or QAZ4RFAV. The files revealed the truth. Kim wasn't a mysterious ghost online. He was a government hacker with a 9-to-5 job, and his job was to spy. The malware arsenal. The leak exposed a powerful set of hacking tools, some built to steal, others to stay hidden. One was the Tomcat kernel rootkit, a secret backdoor buried deep inside Linux systems that gave full control to the attacker. Another was a custom Cobalt strike beacon, a cracked and modified version of a well-known security tool turned into a weapon. There was also the Bushfire exploit kit used to attack. Ivanti VPN systems, the same flaws that shook global cybersecurity in 2025. Its code looked strikingly similar to Chinese hacker tools, suggesting possible cooperation. And then came Spawn Chimera, a ghost-like backdoor that hid its commands inside normal internet traffic. To anyone watching, it looked harmless, but underneath, it was quietly slipping through firewalls, unseen and unstoppable. Phishing factories and stolen identities. If you think phishing emails are just random spam, think again. For Kimsuky, phishing was a full-on. Business investigators found a script called generator.php, a tool that created fake South Korean government login pages complete with real logos, fonts, and even loading bars. They sent these to officials, journalists, and military officers. One click, and their passwords were stolen. The hackers also grabbed thousands of South Korean GPKI certificates, digital keys used to sign official documents. With those, they could pretend to be real government employees. One file even belonged to a South Korean defense officer named Park Young-wook. Password: $36,402,290. With that alone, Kimsuky could slip into restricted systems and send fake government messages without anyone suspecting a thing, breaching South Korea's defense command. The most alarming part of the leak came from a server named VPS 17358111325. It held phishing logs aimed at dcc.mil.kr, South Korea's Defense Counterintelligence Command, the agency built to stop spies. Timestamps showed that just 3 days before the leak, a live phishing attack was still running. That meant the hackers were still inside, even as their own secrets were spilling out. The logs listed email, addresses of South Korean defense staff, even personal Naver accounts tied to military systems, blurring the line between everyday users and state targets. Breach of the foreign ministry. But the hack didn't stop there. Among the stolen files was one called mofa.go.ker.7z, the full source code of South Korea's foreign ministry email system. Think about that, an entire government's diplomatic network copied and stolen. Timestamps showed it was taken as recently as April 2025. That meant Kimsuky could do more than just read messages. They could fake them, sending false emails. That looked completely real. If they added hidden backdoors, they could watch every conversation between Seoul and its allies without anyone knowing. The human side of the spy. But beneath all that power, the files showed something human. Kim's history showed visits to GitHub, Chinese tech forums, and Taiwanese news sites. He often used Google Translate to turn Korean into Chinese, maybe to hide where he was from. He saved screenshots of his work, reused the same passwords, and worked like clockwork every day. He wasn't a ghost, just a man at a desk, doing his job as a spy. Cracks in the system. The leak shattered the myth that government hackers are perfect. Even North Korea's top cyber team made mistakes. Kim's weak passwords, unprotected files, and use of public hacking tools like Cobalt. Strike exposed everything. Those small errors, those human cracks, turned into a flood of valuable intelligence. It proved that even the most secretive hackers can be undone by their own habits. The bigger picture. Kimsuky's story is just one piece of North Korea's larger cyber war strategy. For a country cut off by sanctions, hacking is survival, a weapon to steal, spy, and stay alive. They attack banks for money, scientists for research, and governments for secrets. But this time, the curtain lifted. We saw how the system works, the people, the tools, the flaws. Experts now believe this. Leak could help the world understand how North Korea's cyber army truly operates, their methods, their partners, and their weaknesses, the fallout. Since the breach, North Korea has stayed silent. Frak magazine published Sabre and Cyborg's findings, and the world is still analyzing the fallout. For Seoul, it's alarming. For Pyongyang, it's embarrassing. And for everyone else, it's a rare glimpse inside a secretive cyber army. The irony is striking, one of the most secretive nations exposed by its own spy. In espionage, knowledge is power. Now, the world knows more about North Korea's hackers than ever. But if a small team could breach Pyongyang's top spies, what else is hiding in the shadows? In the silent war of the internet, secrets don't stay buried. Sometimes even the hunters get hacked. If this peek into state-sponsored hacking grabbed your attention, subscribe and hit the bell. We'll keep uncovering the hidden stories of cyber warfare and real-life spy operations. Until next time, stay curious, stay alert, And remember, in the digital age, everyone is watching someone.